The stakes couldn't be higher ahead of Sunday's first round of the French presidential election. Open or closed borders, more Europe or less Europe, a bigger or smaller welfare state, a bigger or smaller military. All the candidates argue that, in their own way, they're insurgents. All promise reform, with radically differing views of France's place in the world. The choice voters will make will also impact not just France, it could impact Brexit talks, the way the German elections go in the fall, the relationship with the Middle East and Africa. So on Sunday, in the voting booth, will it be about issues? Will it be about institutions here in this country? Or individuals? With the outcome a total uncertainty, we're going to be looking back at a race that's been about identity, incumbent fatigue, ethics sometimes. But what is the issue that matters most? Today in the France 24 debate, we're looking at a race that's up for grabs. With us, Paris Municipal Councillor Anne Le Breton, who supports centrist candidate Emmanuel Macron. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Sitting next to you, Michael Salah. He heads the National Fronts Committee in northwest Paris, in the northwest of Paris, in the suburban département of Val d'Oise. Municipal Councillor Camille Bedin of Les Républicains, Municipal Councillor in the Paris suburb of Nanterre, in the west of Paris.
In the department of Haute-Seine.
Okay. And Raquel Garrido, spokesperson for Jean-Luc Mélenchon's. We're always asking this question. How do you translate France Insoumise?
It's been translated in many ways. Some have said unsubmissive, but I think that's ugly. Bloomberg is calling us unbowed France. Okay. Unbowed. Isn't that nice?
All right.
Unbowed.
Unbowed France. Okay, there you go.
But Jacobin Mag is saying rebellious France.
Okay.
Whatever you like. I think you get the idea.
The France 24 debate on Facebook and on Twitter. The hashtag F24debate. Let's begin and look at the latest polls. And again, you have to take these with a bit of circumspection. There's been a lot of mistakes and a lot of polls, as we know, of late. It is a four-way race for Sunday's first round with socialist Benoît Hamon, the one who's faltering. If we could call up that graph one more time there. He's flirting with the moderate left's worst score in a presidential election since 1969. You see Emmanuel Macron, the centrist, Marine Le Pen, François Fillon and Jean-Luc Mélenchon, about even. But again, it depends which survey you're looking at. Now, one of the keys, and I'll begin with you, Anne Le Breton, one of the keys is 28%. That is the number I've seen, according to a study done by Sevipov. 28% of the French still undecided, more than 1 in 4 voters. How do you bring those 28% to the polls, and what's the issue that's going to bring them?
Well, I've been canvassing on the streets a lot, so I've been hearing all those people who are very undecided, and so I can confirm that there is a lot of, of people who are still hesitating. They're hesitating between very strange various things that usually are completely opposed. I have people who are hesitating between Mélenchon and Marine Le Pen, for example. I don't know how they're going to decide at the last minute. I think people are lost. We're at a time where the whole of French politics is just being rebuilt in a completely different way. And people who are very attached to their side, left or right, they're very, they're lost without their usual bearings, and they don't really know where to go. And so it will be a decision whether they go for the extremes or they choose a project that is more, that wants to reunite France more. And it will be, we'll see the result on Sunday.
And of those voters that you spoke to, how many said that, well, they're going to go vote, and how many said they're going to stay home?
They all seem to say they're going to go and vote. I'm not sure that the people who are so undecided will really vote in the end. But there is a great interest in this election. That's undeniable. But today I was again this morning and at lunchtime on the street handing out leaflets. And I wonder, when are they going to make their mind? Because it's very surprising. People 2 days before the election.
Now, there's 4 of you around the table, 5 of names that we mentioned, and it's the socialists that are the odd party out in this case. Of the main center-right, center-left bloc, your candidate is the only one who's in that top 4 that we're mentioning. And yet there's a sense that even within your party, it could be what Anne Le Breton was describing. That is that politics is going to be completely different.
You know, I think we have no idea of what's going to happen on Sunday and after. So I think every politician today is asking himself, myself, for example, lots of questions about the way we do politics and everything. But right now, the uncertainty is very high, but the issues that are at stake are so important, so serious, that I don't know if people are gonna blow the traditional system that way. I'm not sure that they're gonna vote for Macron, as the polls say. I'm not sure at all, because I think they need serious experience, credibility. I think they need a party to govern. I think they need a majority. I think they need a unity to govern, to make decisions, to make reforms that the country needs. So the issues are so important in the terrorism, the world situation and everything. Trump, Putin, the Brexit, and so the Turkey issue, everything. It's so serious that I'm not sure that the French people are gonna, blow everything and vote for somebody completely unexperienced and without any ideological line.
I see who we're going to be hitting on tonight.
Obviously.
Michael Sala, if Marine Le Pen, as the polls suggest, and again, it's all within the margin of error, finds herself in the second round, it would be unprecedented. You're hearing there the argument that when it comes time to put a ballot in the box, people, they'll be like afraid of the unknown at that point.
Well, I'd like to point to another figure that you didn't mention, because you were talking about, undecided voters. I would like to talk first about voters who are very, very much decided. And those are Marine Le Pen's voters. When you look at the figures, when you look at the polls, they show that over 80%, over 85% actually, of people who declare their intention to vote for Marine Le Pen are absolutely certain they will do so. And when you look at the numbers for Mr. Macron or Mr. Fillon, less than half the voters who declare... Can I finish my sentence? Thank you very much. And less than half of the voters who declare their intention to vote for either Mr. Fillon or Mr. Macron say they're certain to do so. So if you take that bias into account, Marine Le Pen is way ahead in the first round, and this is also what's going to make her win. There was also a very interesting study by Goldman Sachs, and you can't, say Goldman Sachs is on Marine Le Pen's side. They published a paper to their clients saying that Marine Le Pen's chances were the odds were very good in her favor, because in the second round, if you look at the figures, you see that 30% of the voters do not want to say who they are going to vote for. And in history, in France, those who do not want to say who they vote for Marine Le Pen. So this is what makes us confident and what makes us look at decided voters more than at undecided voters.
All right. It is true that Marine Le Pen does have, according to those surveys, including the one by Sevipov, a strong core of very decided voters. Again, it's about getting the other ones, that 28%, the more than 1 in 4. Raquel Garrido, your thoughts on where those 28% will go?
Well, first of all, to react on what the voters for Marine Le Pen represent, that clearly depends on turnout. It's true that they're very much decided, but what we don't know is what their weight is relatively to the others.
So high turnout, what does it mean, for instance?
A high turnout means that Marine Le Pen is not in the second round. And a low turnout means that she is. So our whole strategy from the start with Jean-Luc Mélenchon has been for more than a year to talk to those French people who it's not that they're not decided, it's that they're disgusted with the political system. They've been to the polling offices 1 time, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Each time they've been betrayed. What they voted for has been annulled. For instance, in 2005, when France voted against the Constitutional Treaty for Europe, and then Nicolas Sarkozy went and negotiated the Lisbon Treaty, time and time again, the French people have been betrayed. And so they don't believe in the actual fact of voting, the impact that will have. That's why with Jean-Luc Mélenchon, our first issue, the first point we put on the table was to get a democratic system that was actually democratic, in which the people actually get to govern, right? But this cannot be done within the current constitution.
Right, you're asking, are you for a new constitution? But again, for that to happen, you need to get your supporters to the polls.
Exactly, but we don't know. It's not about, François, it's not about getting our supporters in the polls. It's about getting more people into the civic system. It's not the same people. We're not trying to pull together those people who are already identified as Mélenchonistes. You understand? We're trying still until Sunday to bring people along in this process where we can all together change the constitution and get solid warranties, democratic warranties, like, for instance, the right to recall elected officials, which exists in the United States and in many other countries in the world, but not in France. And on the contrary, in France, what you have is a situation where the president has overwhelming powers with absolutely no accountability whatsoever in front of anyone, whether it be the parliament and even bless the people. So what people are asking for today in France, I conclude. I think there's a profound movement for more ethics in politics, for different behavior, more ethical behavior on behalf of elected officials, and more citizen control. And that's exactly what Jean-Luc Mélenchon is organizing with the Constituent Assembly for the 6th Republic, and he's the only one calling for that.
Yeah, again, it depends on whether or not people will come to the polls before that. And Anne de Breton, your candidate has been criticized for being neither left nor right. It's too fuzzy for a lot of people.
Well, not by according to the polls, because it seems that a lot of people understand the concept of taking the best from the right and the best from the left. I think people are tired of that, this fake division of France, left and right. We see the socialist parties now down to 8%, which shows that there was no ideological structure in that party. It's the same thing is going to happen on Monday when François Fillon loses, because they're just holding on together until they have their last decision. But I think what we're seeing now is that a lot of French people are really fed up with those fake divisions and want to participate. We have built a movement from scratch where we have 250,000.
I'm sorry. They've just signed on the website.
Well, I'm sorry, but for example, I'll just give one example. We do not have anybody to hold the polls from the Front National or from the Front Gauche, because they don't have people to send to actually do. They want to be in power, but they don't even have people to do the work. We have people everywhere. We're already an organized party. We've been able to fill out, to do what we need to do just to get the election on the road.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you just said. We're more than we're 500,000 already.
Well, where are you? You're not even holding the polling booths.
Ma'am, you know how that's organized. It's because you have to be elected officials. And what's happening with your movement is that lots of elected officials from the old system, whether it be the Socialist Party or Les Républicains, are all running up to your candidate because they leave the polls.
You just didn't do the job.
Madam, you know that the presidents of polls, it's organized. I think you understand how that is organized.
You can send people to hold the polls, and you didn't.
Have not been messing around and negotiating in the former
There's nothing
system
to negotiate.
You
just send a list to the mairie and you get in, and you know it very well. So you want to be in the government, you want to be actually doing things, and you're not even able to organize elections. So that's what I want to point out, and it's the same thing from the Front National. Well, it's true. I was told this afternoon when
in any case, we're currently the biggest movement in France with almost 500,000 people backing Jean-Luc Mélenchon, and I don't think that your candidate can go and show those numbers, whether it be on the YouTube account of Jean-Luc Mélenchon that has more followers than Donald Trump and Clinton, and
YouTube followers do not make members of.
You can look at Twitter, you can look at Facebook, you can look at how many people are making phone calls
Facebook,
today.
We rule on Facebook. 1.5 million. We rule.
In any case, it's not true that
Let's get serious.
It's uncredible to make the point that France Insoumise is not a very profound.
Can we get
and
serious?
really
This argument, following up from what happened in the U.S. election and during the Brexit vote, it also shows again that all sides are having trouble. The old methods of polling and the likes aren't working as well. It's a very different election from the past. Let me ask you about that, Michael Sala.
Yeah, you were asking about what is going to swing undecided voters. Let me make you a proposition on what's going to swing undecided voters. How about safety and security? Because let me remind you of something, and remind these ladies here who represent candidates who have all been in power in the last 25 years. Let me remind you that in the last 18 months, 250 Frenchmen were killed by terrorist attacks, and 800 were wounded by terrorists. This is war. All right? So the French are sick and tired of it, and they hear a prime minister who says, you're going to have to get used to terror. Well, the French don't want that. They don't want to get used to terror. They don't want to get used to crime, which is on the street. It's unbearable. The French have their life made miserable by crime on the street that is on the rise like it has never, ever been. And the third thing, which is
the
also,
homicide rate in France is down.
Not the homicide. I'm talking about daily, incivilities, daily hassles that you have to face when you're a decent working man or woman and you try to raise your kids in this country. It's become hell. It's become chaos. And the last thing that French are sick and tired of is 7 million unemployed. So you know what we're going to do to make sure that the French are safe again? The first thing that Marine Le Pen will do, she will restore borders. And that is the connection with your original question. What is going to swing undecided voters? Undecided voters want to be safe again in that country. And that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. We will put back France back in order again.
Camille Baudin.
I do not agree with the solution, obviously. But I agree on the what you said about French being fed up about all the debate that you just had about, oh, great, we have a brand new candidate who has a lot of people on his website. That's great. No, I mean, we are not talking about marketing or being young or being new. We're talking about these issues of national security, of unemployment. I mean, Hollande is, after 5 years of Hollande's government, we have 6 million unemployed people in France, 9 million poor people in France. This is what it is about, this election. Not about being new and young.
I've heard the argument made that
experience to solve these problems.
I've heard the argument made that the fault line in this election is those who paint a bright picture of the future and those who paint a pessimistic future of the future.
You're right.
And some people have put François Fillon in the camp of Marine Le Pen on that. Somebody who says that watch out, France is going to the dogs and the country's going down the tubes.
You're right to ask this question. It's a good question, but I think when you're a presidential candidate, you can't paint a picture of France that is only black and hard and dark, but you have to see the truth. And what is the situation today? And the situation that our country is less powerful. Our country has a lot of unemployment, of insecurity, and everything that we just said. And you have to say that and to say what are the solutions.
All right, the stature.
And what Macron
the stature of France
are not the solutions.
Just when we're getting to this crucial issue, we have to take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. You're watching the France 24 debate.